Hey, it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful empowered harmonizers. And we are zooming in and focusing in on a great viewer question, and that is, how do you heal after heartbreak? How do you heal the suffering that really sets in and takes place after you have exposed someone who has basically pathologically lied to you, who has pulled the wool over your eyes, who has taken you for a ride, who has played you for a fiddle, and you really are feeling a sense of heartbreak, a sense of bewilderment, a sense of defeat. Kind of, you feel very mopey. You know, you don't deserve this, you deserve better. It's basically, to heal this heartbreak is very crucial and can take a long, prolonged, basically, period of time until you get your hands and your mind and your heart around a couple of issues. For number one, the heart is whole. The heart wants what it wants, and you can't always be in control of what it is attracted to. But one thing the heart will do is tell you your true feelings. It is the one that moves you. It is the locus of control of sort of your causal factor towards what you pursue in your life. What is really meaningful, sentimental, what you really value is oftentimes at your heart. It is the source of desire. It is the source of longing. It's the source of pining after something. And oftentimes it overrides the logic. It'll cause you either to take risk. It'll cause you to go through undue hardship for a greater purpose or a greater good or something that you really love in your life. It'll cause you to also feel and sense heartbreak or disappointment when you are faced with things that don't always live up to its pursuit or your expectation or truly your needs. The heart can oftentimes overrun and have precedence and power over oftentimes even your physical needs. In other words, you will starve. You will begin to, wait for somebody, even though it hurts. Your heart will cause you to do things that are oftentimes superhuman in nature, which means you will make great sacrifices for the love of another person, human being. You will wait for them. You will save up and buy them gifts. You'll make plans. You'll make dreams that will then keep you on that track of heart, the track of wanting, the track of love. And this can be a very, very sore place to be heartbroken, particularly that at the hands of disappointment. Someone who has either pathologically lied or betrayed you, specifically in the matters of love. And heartbreak oftentimes feels like you won't go on. But like the great Celine Dion song, "My Heart Will Go On," is to understand that your heart will go on, even though it has suffered a feeling of a broken heart or disappointment or betrayal, especially at the hands of someone who is narcissistic or psychopathic or just plain manipulative or into a power play, a power, a wrestling or a void of power in either a relationship or a family or a workplace, where oftentimes there can be power vacuums that exist, i.e., someone has to step up to the plate, someone has to be a leader, someone has to be, a grower, someone has to take the upper hand, someone has to guide things. Oftentimes, though, when this occurs, there can be people who don't always have good intent, who don't have others' best interest at hand or at mind, and they can lead people astray. They can lead people asunder. They can take advantage of, manipulate, and betray others. And once you have experienced this, oftentimes you will feel a sense of heartbreak, betrayal, giving up of trust. All your survival seems to be worth for naught. there's a huge downside that you continue to think of when you think about life or relating to others of either, of the opposite sex, the same sex, or families, or work, work settings, corporate settings, things of that nature, which seem to be wrought with these power vacuums, or people who are power hungry, power greedy, things of this nature, oftentimes which typify people who have a lack of empathy, people who don't always feel for others or others' best interests. In other words, they're trying to sabotage, they're trying to betray, they're doing things behind another's back. They are living double and triple lives. They're living life basically out of a pathological self-importance and selfishness, which is betraying of the heart. In other words, their mind, their ego is so needy. These people can be so needy that they need to take and take and take and take from others. They are not your givers. They're not your altruists. They're not your people of great empathy or compassion. They are the people who will give you the short end of the stick. The people who won't always make sacrifices in equal and like manner that you make for them. We then see these relationships getting out of balance, out of whack, in disharmony, dysfunction, and disconnect. It's like a link that just don't work. When you are in a relationship with someone who has broken your heart, oftentimes there is a lack of communication, a lack of honesty, and a lack of empathy, which means, they're not giving another respect. They're not being able to take and factor in another's needs, another's feelings, another's desires, another's dreams take it into consideration when they're either in behaviors, relationships, decision-making, communication patterns with others. So they tend to be your heartbreakers. And this is not, like a positive thing. A man's man, a lady's lady, a lady's man, or any other sort of descriptor that you might call the players, the playboys, those sort of, ego-based names or descriptors that you might give to the, people who are pathologically charming, the people who have charisma that can, cause a lot of people to believe and be misled. And oftentimes it is the exposure of this which can lead to a lot of heartbreak and a lot of disappointment. Particularly people then tend to, when this occurs, they tend to turn a lot of this onto themselves or inward. They tend to beat themselves up. I should have known better. I wasted this. I didn't see that. I didn't pay attention to this. Yet, oftentimes, if you look at in the course of the relationship, oftentimes you have stayed with this person and been, suffered through, particularly in the name of love or the name of loyalty, the name of commitment, that oftentimes because you were living and guided by these principles and these values of commitment, of loyalty, of greater values, of family value, of relationship commitment to someone who you were married to or engaged to for some time, you had a commitment, you had a loyalty, you had a love. In other words, you're taking the good with the bad. You don't mind getting less than because you love and adore this person. You cherish them. They are precious to you. You have honored and obeyed. You have done all these things, even when it was not in your best interest. However, there really becomes a tipping point when really things are not in your best interest and things go awry, things go askew, things go off course and really become toxic and negative, particularly with individuals who are, the really big egos that are too big for everybody. In other words, the town ain't big enough for the both of us. This company ain't big enough for the both of us. This ain't gonna work. They are the ones who have to always be the one up, the leg one up, the better than, the winner, the one who is going to prove it all, no matter what. They're going to be the ones who are going to be your show-offs, the ones who are flaunting their numbers, flaunting their wealth, flaunting their car. These people who will let you know in no uncertain terms that they are the it, and these people, oftentimes, a lot of people will gravitate towards them because of this sort of panache, I guess is the way to describe it, the pomp and circumstance with which these people tend to want to exude that they are the ones to be in the know with. So if you can even just be as a groupie, even though you might not get the great treatment, at least you are in association. So, you get your rock stars, your movie stars, your leaders, your people who are super wealthy, who are the heavy hitters in business, who want this sort of ego identification where it's just enough to bask in my presence, and that should be enough for you, and that I can then help myself to you. You are like my possession now. So that's how some, real dysfunctional boss, managers, corporations tend to operate, with this sort of intimidation or psychopathic focus or feeling or vibe where, you better just suffer. You're going to go through a pay cut, but you better work harder. You're getting a smaller working space, but you better produce more. You're getting mistreated, you're getting less training, but you better outdo what you did last year. So a lot of these sort of back and forth, this sort of dichotomy can be set up and create a lot of heartbreak and disappointment. Heartbreak can occur in the professional realm. It can also occur in the personal realm, the love realm, even, within yourself. You can have a sort of defeatist attitude about yourself and what you've gone through, especially if you've really had this or taken this hard in relationships previously, where you're like, here I go again, and I'm just heartbroken, and I don't think I'm ever going to be on the mend. So I want you to look at this and look at also the expectations that you have set for yourself and the expectations you had perhaps set for a dysfunctional individual, and see if you can see a sort of a mismatch and incongruency with the expectations you have had for one of these egotistical, dysfunctional individuals. Are your expectations really too high? Or can you really kind of bring them down and scale them down to size, down to reality? And can you begin to reduce your expectations for these individuals and see, what, maybe I did get what I expect. Maybe I don't have to be so disappointed. Maybe I can come to accept this. And with that, I can heal some of this heartbreak and move on. Looking at your expectations and seeing if they were set up way too high, and to see if you can bring these down to size once you kind of know what you know. See if this can help to bring you some relief in getting through that heartbreak, so you can go on and love again and love completely, including the feeling of care and connection that you feel to yourself now. It's your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today, and I hope that these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion,